Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another episode of Midnight Double Feature, where we are covering a rare new release in the Odyssey. Colin, welcome back, my man.
Hey, what's up, buddy? Uh, glad to be on. Glad to be back talking about it. I mean, probably the biggest movie of the year. I guess people have been talking about one of, if not the biggest movie of the year, and finally got around to watching it today. And yeah, we got a lot to cover. So I'm excited to talk about it though, because there's definitely a lot going on, both inside and like outside of the film. Unfortunately and fortunately, but I'm excited to get into all of it. And we don't really get to talk Nolan like a shit ton. I don't know.
No.
I mean, for the podcast, we maybe have done like 3 or 4 of his movies. I know we did Prestige. I think we did Dark Knight and maybe Batman Begins. I think that's it. I don't think we covered any of his other major films.
No, I don't think we have. I'm very scared to cover Nolan.
Yeah.
I think that's what it is. Like, it's super intimidating. Like his movies are just so dense.
Yeah.
And it's just one of those things of like you really need to prepare, and I'm lazy. Famously, I'm lazy, so I'm just like, oh man, fuck, this is fucking not I think with this one, I did prepare a little bit for this one because I have been sitting with this movie for a little bit longer than you. I've seen it twice, and it's been 2 weeks since I've seen it. So I've kind of like really been sort of like gelling with this movie quite a bit.
You've had time to digest it.
Yeah, absolutely. I've had time to digest it, and it's one of those movies that it's just like it's in the popular culture right now. So there's so much media, there's so much news about it, and you kind of just like, holy shit, like let me devour of as much as I possibly can about this movie, just so I can sort of regurgitate it here on the podcast.
Yeah.
And I did kind of like write us off because I was like, oh, I'm never probably going to talk about this movie. I'm probably not going to talk about this movie for a long time on the podcast because you don't watch these kinds of movies in the cinema unless it's a horror movie, right? Like, I mean, like that's we don't really get a chance to talk about
50-50.
Yeah, I think I'm kind of curious why, because you messaged me and you're like, "Oh, should we cover the Odyssey?" You're like, I'm keen to go see it," and I was like, "Oh, okay, that's cool. Like, I like that a lot."
Yeah.
Because it's
gotta keep you guessing. Gotta keep you on your
yeah,
toes.
I know. Holy shit, man! Like 8 years and he's still, keeping me going.
He still
keeping me on my
surprises
toes.
me.
I know. Sometimes he walks through the door with flowers, and I'm wearing my apron, having just got dinner. And
sometimes he hits me because the martini's not ready. It's kind of a 50-50.
There is a lot of that. There is a lot of that. So I think I do have this movie. By the way, before we do get into the movie. By the way, hello, we are Midnight Double Feature. Welcome back. Follow our socials. We're on Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, and Twitter. We're also recording this live currently on Discord, but also you'll be able to find the video version of this podcast on YouTube if you prefer to watch it as well. Just search Midnight Double Feature on YouTube. Should be able to come up. Okay, so now that we got that out of the way, I just want to say this movie is a fantastic podcasting movie. It's because you have a very clear sequence of events in this movie, and you can just kind of like hit each one of them. It's like, oh, Odysseus goes here, Odysseus goes here, Odysseus goes here.
Yeah.
And then, you've got the stuff at Ithaca as well, and like the stuff that happens before this movie, before the main events of this movie, which is the Troy sequences. It's just I've written a bit of a layout for how this episode's going to go, and it is mostly in order, and it's such a good movie to be able to do that. It's a podcaster's dream. So here we go. We're going to go into our overall thoughts in this movie, and I will cover some of the. I don't want to spend too much time on it, but unfortunately, like this movie's just become like the fucking people on the far right have just like really, really just absolutely decided to hate this movie. And it's
Hmm.
I've been like drinking their tears because the movie's just been doing so well for the past two
Yeah,
weeks. So
yeah.
I'm super happy about that. But like we will talk about a little bit about that. I don't want to spend too much time on it because like we're really just here to celebrate the movie and not really just to kind of not to fucking talk about that kind of shit. Like if you've heard this
Yeah.
podcast before, we don't really buy into racial bullshit. Like
Well, and like rage baiting stuff. I just like
oh
who fucking care? And all that hoopla. And it's like we'll get into it, but all that
yeah.
hoopla, and it was just kind of like a wet fart into like nothing. It's like
Into nothing. Like they just really wanted this Christopher Nolan movie to fail, and it's like, come on, man. Like, I mean, the guy's last movie
it's a Nolan
was
flick.
Oppenheimer. It was a 3 hour, partially black and white biopic, historical biopic, with mostly men talking in rooms, and it made almost $1 billion.
Hmm.
And it won
It's
him a whole
Nolan.
bunch of awards. They got their fucking white person movie, by the way. That's called Oppenheimer. There's not a person of color in that movie. Like, you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
like come on. Like Nolan Nolan proved that he can win awards without people of color. You know.
Yeah.
So this is the one where it's just like, all right, okay, let me see if I can make one with people of color and also win
Yeah.
best director.
Let me, Leah, let me fix some people that don't look exactly like me. And
Right.
it's
Exactly.
like I put Morgan Freeman in Batman, but like, yeah, that counts.
All right, let's talk about our overall thoughts of this movie, um, and our history with the Odyssey, if any. Like, obviously
Hmm.
the Odyssey has been around for 3,000 or so years. It's the epic poem by Homer. It's part one of. It's part. Sorry, it's multiple. It's a multiple fucking series, right? But the main ones
Hmm.
are the Iliad and the Odyssey. Um, and also tell me your history with the story of Troy as well, if you are familiar with Troy. So yeah, hit me.
So yeah, I don't remember the first time I heard like the actual story of the Odyssey, but I definitely like my preferred, I guess, retelling or version of the story is "O Brother, Where Art Thou." That's probably like the thing I have the closest relationship with within the Odyssey. If not, maybe the Simpsons episode where they do like it's literally Homer's Odyssey. Really funny episode
Which I
because I
did
think
watch, by the way.
Yeah. I think Patty and Selma are like the sirens or something like that. But no, I don't have like really a lot of history with the Odyssey. I may have read it in high school at one point, but I don't really remember that at all. And the times that I might have come across it in like pop culture would be something like I said, like The Simpsons. A Brother Where Art Thou really, which is even super loosely, based on the Odyssey. But that's kind of like my preferred telling of it. But Lindsay, my wife, is a big fan of the Odyssey. She wants to teach it in class and stuff, and
Oh,
she's like,
sick.
it's just such a classic story.
Yeah.
But I don't have a lot of history with it, but I'm familiar enough with the story. Troy, I mean, really the only thing I know about Troy is the movie Troy.
Hmm.
That's really it. Is the Brad Pitt flick. Which is not a bad movie at all. Like it's a fine movie. I haven't seen it in a long time. But I don't really have like it's just movies that I kind of watched every now and then. And to be fair, like I mean, half the reason I even went and saw this is because it's a Nolan flick,
Sure. The
and
guy's
like
he's like a brand unto himself.
yeah, and I think he proved himself in a lot of other like crime genres and sci-fi and superhero, and he's proved himself in a lot of war flick, a biopic kind of like he's really proven himself in a lot of arenas. And yeah, I think if a different director directs this movie, I might not go watch it. But and part of it was obviously the hype and stuff around it, the hype, and then the criticism of what was, with Elliot Page and Travis Scott, and like some people saying this cast is just like a bloated, a massively bloated cast. Uh, which I mean, at some points I can almost kind of see that because it's like how many fucking it's like a clown car. Just these like A-list
Mm.
actors keep pouring out of this fucking clown car. But it was more like some of them are almost like cameos, Uh, so it didn't really bother me too much. But I don't really have a shit ton of history beyond that. But I liked the movie. I liked it. It's definitely not like perfect. It's very to me, it almost feels like Gladiator meets like Bram Stoker's Dracula. I don't know how to like. It has this weird, like there's magic and monsters, but there's also like guys in suits of armor, and it has this like it feels like the beginning of Bram Stoker's Dracula when he has like the red muscle armor on, and he's like fucking up those, I don't know, whatever they are, not Americans. But it reminded me a lot of Gladiator. I should say Gladiator reminds me of the Odyssey because obviously Gladiator probably pulled a lot of stuff from the Odyssey. But uh, all in all, I liked it. It didn't like blow my socks off or anything. I probably won't buy it. I probably won't see it again. But I think that it's fine. I think that it's pretty good. Some of the hype was just kind of, well, not just kind of, some of the hype was just way too much for this flick, and both the negative and the positive. But I mean, it's a Nolan flick. You're going to get a lot of spectacle. You're going to get a lot of scale. So it's going to make sense that there's going to be a lot of like hoopla around it at the end of the day.
I think I think I love your thoughts, and like before I launch into my fucking thing, I'm gonna say I'm telling you off mic, like you're going to be the voice of reason on this podcast, and I'm just going to be glazing this movie quite a bit.
Yeah,
because like, this is very much.
We all have our weaknesses.
Yeah, this is very much my bag, man. Like Nolan's my guy. Like, to me, there are like two movie events of the year. It was this, and then it's also Dune Part 3. So like those two are just like the big ones.
Not Doomsday, huh?
It's kind of like it is like a cherry on top sort of situation. Like, like I feel like Dune, because like Steph and I are going to like Melbourne to go see Dune because it's we'll talk about IMAX in a sec, but that's playing in 70mm IMAX there. And Doomsday is going to come out the same day, so we're just going to go check that out as well.
Nice,
but like it's not. I gotta tell you, that trailer didn't really do much for me. Like I was just, I don't know, man. Like
it's alright.
That's maybe maybe another conversation for another time. But yeah, it's always been Odyssey and Dune for me this year.
Okay,
and
okay.
I like, well, man, where do I begin? Like I thought I levitated at multiple scenes in this movie, dude. I was like, am I floating off my seat right now? Like there are moments in this when I was just completely like enraptured. Like, I think it's important to approach this movie as like, and we can. This involves that bigger conversation around like the social reactions to this movie. People need to realize that this is a fucking myth. Like,
it's a work of fiction.
It's an absolute work of fiction. Yes, like there are like people, there's evidence of the discovery of Troy now. Like over the last, I think like 100 or so years, people have been discovering what could have been Troy. Like, well, I'll get into that.
Nice,
but there is no evidence of the Trojans. Like there is no evidence of that the Greeks sacked Troy, and there is no evidence of the horse. There is no evidence of Odysseus or him traveling on the way home. Like there's none of that. Like it's
a fairy tale.
At this point, it's fairy tale, right? So you really need to approach it in that way. And I think this movie, you were talking about like, yes, it is like this. Like there are like real things happening. There are men wearing armor, and then you've got like sort of like monsters and stuff. I think this is the perfect sort of like clash of that kind of stuff. I think Nolan does a good job of like showing you like the real hardened men in suits of armor, but then also you have a giant fucking cyclops that's like practically made.
Yeah,
like you know what I mean.
the mythical part of it. Yeah,
yeah. And I love something else I really really adore about this movie is it's important to watch this movie, and again this kind of like sets up some sort of like replay value if you want to watch it again, but it's important for you to watch this movie and take note of who is telling a story about someone. So you have Menelaus, who is John Bernthal's character, talking about the sacking of Troy, right? And like when he tells the story and we go into flashback of that story of that the first time we see the sacking of
Sure.
Troy, it is like this big sort of like heroic moment, like it's this big sort of like moment of like we stealthily came in, we did like, we stood in our own shit, some of us drowned, whatever, but we did the work, it got done, and we were successful, we were victorious. And then
Hmm.
Menelaus like rescued his wife Helen, right? Um, but then like obviously towards the end when Odysseus has that guilt about the war and about Troy and like how he did it. More importantly, like I think more,
Hmm.
I think more than anything, he's this is just something that I've kind of like formulated, having seen it a couple times now. It's not so much the sacking of Troy that he's upset about; it's how he did it. It's
Right. It's dishonorable. Yeah.
yeah, it's dishonorable. It goes against Zeus's law, and then it ushers in this age of not only like the collapse of the Bronze Age, but like also men being more dishonest and deceptive in their combat
Sure.
and approach to people. And I just thought like I think the way the movie sort of like really conveys that is really really beautiful because like each of these sort of trials that he goes to, um, like there is an element of that, right? So like when he goes to um the Cyclops cave, the Cyclops, it's his home, but the Cyclops immediately just starts like eating them. You know what I mean?
Right.
And then
Yeah.
it's just like, well, the Cyclops isn't being honorable, right? Or is he? Because he's just kind of like being a Cyclops. And then you've got Cersei, the Cersei sequence we'll talk about in great detail, but
Mm.
Cersei is this person who invited these men into their home, and then she punished them based on things that she thought that they were going to do to her. So she was kind of afraid in
Right.
advance.
And probably did happen to her at some point.
Probably
Yeah.
did happen to her, exactly. So you do get like that scene of like, them kind of like going out to the back and seeing discarded suits of armor and stuff, and they're just being like, "Oh
So
shit, like what's
ominous.
going on here?" Yeah. I just thought, on a craft level, like no one's doing it like Christopher Nolan is. Like it's just really like you get the sense it's so I know I talk about this all the time. It's so refreshing to see a movie go out and shoot in real locations, and you definitely get the sense that he traveled all across the world to film this movie. Like,
Oh yeah.
yes, like not everything is. I think there's one sequence where they did use like a massive like water tank. And Nolan being Nolan, he used practical as much as possible, but there's only so much you can do. Like the whole Scylla scene is like those tentacles are CG. Like that's you kind of
Yeah.
need to do that, right? So yeah, man, and I thought the cast like really brought it. I thought like Matt Damon is like this sort of safe pair of hands, and I thought like that his casting was like Matt Damon slots into this like sort of like role of like he's not really an everyman, but like he is like sort of like this kind of like a blank slate. Like he's not
Yeah.
like
Oh yeah.
the other person that I saw like his name was kind of chucked around for this was Christian Bale, and I feel like Christian Bale is a bit too intense, like whereas like Odysseus is a little bit like yeah, because Matt Damon has that sort of like tricksterness
It's a
sort of thing.
likability. Yeah, he definitely has like a jesterly Loki kind
Yeah,
of wicked, like vibe.
yes, and
When we did leave the theater, I threw out. I was like, I like Matt Damon. He's not my he's not my favorite. I
mhm,
wouldn't even necessarily say I like him that much. He'll pass is
yeah,
how I feel about him. But I'm like, I'll see your like Matt Damon and I'll raise you an Ethan Hawke every
uh-huh,
time. I don't care what movie it is. Like Ethan Hawke is Jason Bourne, I'd watch that. Like and it's just because they're Ethan Hawke is always Ethan Hawke in a movie.
mm,
And um, oh my God, Ben Affleck's buddy, the one we were just talking about.
Matt
I
Damon,
totally just blanked on it. Thank you, Matt Damon.
the lead of this movie.
My brain just totally blanked on him. Like he and Ethan Hawke they're always kind of the same guys in a lot of movies, but I just prefer Ethan's like style of it. I've just always liked Ethan
Mhm,
Hawke. But no, I know what you mean. Just like we need a guy who's like 5'10" to 6 foot, 45 to 55 pounds, white. like we need a very like average kind of dude, likable but gruff. You know?
I'll tell you what. Here's there is something about Matt Damon that is a little bit more unhinged to me that Ethan Hawke doesn't have. Like Ethan Hawke is kind of he's a little too likable, whereas like Matt Damon, there is a little bit of like when they pass the sirens, right? Like, and he is talking to he's talking to Himesh Patel, and he's just like, "No, I'm not gonna put earwax in my fucking ears. I want to listen to this." And like, yeah, I
Yeah.
think Ethan Hawke can pull that off, but like, there is that like, you fucking you're
Hmm.
absolutely arrogant bastard. Like you want to
Yeah.
be the only person to hear this siren song. Um,
I
and then
love. They're like, what did the siren song saying? It's like it just kept saying, "It's not your fault. It's not your fault." Like I didn't understand.
yeah, and then like just that moment, like when we get into the third act of Leguizamo being like bringing vengeance, and then he's like bringing it all. I don't know if Ethan
Hmm.
Hawke can do that. You know what I mean? I haven't seen that kind of um I don't know, like wrath. Is it wrath? Is that
Yeah.
the word I'm kind of looking for? Like,
Well, and like physicality too, because Matt Damon's he did all those Bourne movies, so
yeah.
he can physically like do a lot of it.
Also,
But Ethan
fucking
Hawke, like,
jacked for this movie, by the way.
yeah, his arms are huge. Like when he's buckling that bow down
Uh-huh.
and like his forearm, I was like, holy shit.
Yeah.
I also think Ryan Hurst would have been a great Odysseus. Honestly,
Man, when he
like
popped up in
I
this,
think
I was like, God damn, Ryan. Like,
love him, man.
yeah.
I was at a convention years ago, and I was walking by, and his booth was on the corner, and oh, what is his name? And Remember the Titans, Gary Bertier. And I said, hey, I was sitting up, and I was like, hey, Ryan. And he looked up, I was like, bro, you will always be Gary Bertier to me. And he was like, thanks, man. And he kind of fist bumped me and just walked off.
And that, like,
And it's like,
fucking.
bro, now he's God of War. Like,
Well, no longer the God of War. I'm not sure if you saw, but he pulled something or broke his ankle or something, and now he's being recast.
oh, that sucks.
Yeah.
I mean, that picture looked a little goofy. Anyways,
Yeah,
Ryan,
yeah.
I think he would have been a great Odysseus. I think he would have done a fine job.
Right.
That is more who I picture for that instead of like Matt Damon. But Matt Damon did a fine. He did fine. Like
Yeah.
I don't really have any major complaints about him. Like he's a grilled cheese sandwich, man. It tastes great.
Exactly.
It might not fill you up. It might not be the most nutritious, but I like a grilled cheese sandwich.
Yeah.
Obviously, like there's nothing wrong with it.
And I think,
but
like,
I don't need to eat it all the time.
no,
you know?
exactly. And I think like that's what Nolan's sort of approach was in this, because you do have the like. Let's look at the rest of the cast. The rest of the cast is like dialing it up to 11. Like Samantha Morton especially, and Robert Pattinson. Robert Pattinson is just on one in this movie.
Uh huh.
Like,
Yeah. He's got that Lillard drizzle. That Matthew
dude,
Lillard drizzle.
the sauce on this performance is so good, dude. Like he is like dripping with angst, and he sells every minute of it, dude. Like when Telemachus comes back, and like Telemachus is wearing his armor and all that stuff, and then like it becomes apparent that like that Rob Pattinson's plan didn't work. Antinous is his name. That
There
Antinous's
you go.
plans didn't work. Like Telemachus walks away with Penelope, and the camera just holds on Antinous, just staring and just being like, "What the fuck am I gonna do now?"
Yeah. Yeah.
And then of
There's
course,
definitely
like somebody get these beggars out of here. Like,
yeah.
The heart
Yeah. It's
beat.
like what did he say?
What did he say?
No, yeah, he definitely had some like. There was a few times where I was like, more so towards the end
Mhm.
when Logan Marshall Green was dropping the weapons through the floor and Robert Pattinson's like, get the shield, get the shield. I was like, what? I just wanted like a Peter Griffin to turn around, like, you know what? No, you get the fucking shield. Like give me one of those
It
moments.
cut back 3 times. It's get the swords, get the shields, get the spears. You're like,
Yeah.
it's so cowardly, and it works so well because like you've set this guy up to be a coward already. So like him just kind of like hiding in the shadows is so good. Like I this is not my work. I read a tweet that pointed out that like when Odysseus plucks the bow to warn his prey, right? And as soon as he plucks the bow at the end of the movie, there, the first person to run away is Antinous, which is
Oh, that's
brilliant.
nice.
And yeah, I don't know, man. I just thought like Hoyte van Hoytema's cinematography was absolutely stunning. Like this is you can feel them being out on the water. Like when the
Hmm.
when the ship is breaking apart, it's absolutely visceral. You feel every moment of it. The sound design is absolutely. I'm. I don't think I've ever heard a sound quite like the sound that the Cyclops makes when it gets hit in the eye.
That was that was brutal, man. That like it was so fucking loud in the theater as well.
Yeah,
I know you probably saw this in IMAX, right?
I
I think
did.
you said that.
Yeah,
Yeah, we saw it in just like a regular theater, and it was so fucking loud, and like it
so
was like
loud.
it sounded like the sound of pigs being slaughtered backwards, in
Yeah.
Latin or something. Like it just sounded so like yeah,
It was
that
it
is
was it was
uncomfortable.
honestly like, well, the first time when they like hit it with that log, right, as it's sleeping, and then the second time when they like when Odysseus does his fucking Odysseus bullshit and shoots its
Yeah.
arrow like, but then like as it's chasing them through the fucking forest out to the beach, and the sounds, the footsteps, and the sound it makes when it hurls that giant fucking rock into the
Hmm.
ocean, dude. And then like not only that, but the silence in this movie. So like when the Cyclops approaches the ship and then it goes under the water and then it's gone. Like the sound is just gone. It's all deafening. Like the
Hmm.
silence is deafening. It's so good.
The wax in the ears for the sound is cool,
Uh
like because it actually plugs it up, and
I
then
love
once
that we don't hear it. I love that we don't hear the siren song. Like, we're kind of like in
theater of the
what's
mind.
the theater of the mind stuff. What is Himesh Patel's name in this? It is Eurylochus. So he's number two,
Okay.
right? So Eurylochus is awesome in this, by the way. Like Himesh Patel, great, great fucking actor. Um, we'll talk about, like, there is one sort of like throwaway moment that he gets in this movie that actually has a lot more weight than it should. It's that moment when it's kind of like at the start of the movie, and it's before we get to the Cyclops sequence, and they kind of like make a landing on this island, and then it cuts to like them having like burned the village, and he's Himesh Patel is talking to this old man, and the old man are like, "You guys are the sea people," and Himesh Patel's like, "No, we're Greeks," and it's just like, "Hang on, dude, that yeah, that guy's telling you that you guys are the sea people. It's not a question." You guys
Yeah.
in this story are the sea people, and we'll get to the sea people. I want to talk about them too. There's so much here to talk about. My history with the Odyssey is pretty much non-existent. I mean,
Right.
I mean, like we didn't learn about it in school. It's not really part of our syllabus growing up or anything like that. I kind of like picked it up as I grew up, as just kind of like about the story, the original story of the guy going home or trying to get home.
Hmm.
Obviously you get like introduced to like bits and pieces of it. Like I've obviously heard of Scylla, I've heard of Circe, the witch, I've heard of the Cyclops. Like those are things that I've all
Hmm.
heard of. But the actual text as a whole, I've never really been exposed to. Like I've never really seen any other adaptation. I haven't seen Oh Brother Where Art Thou. Like that's not really.
Oh,
Yeah,
great flick.
I really want to watch it. I really want to watch it.
Yeah, oh yeah, great.
It's just never streaming. Anytime I try and like go to search it, dude. Like I'm just like, where the fuck is this like star-studded Coen Brothers directed movie? Like where the fuck is it, dude? Um,
Yeah, I bought it. I bought it a long time ago. You can sign it with my YouTube. You'll watch
hell yeah.
it.
But Troy I have seen. The 2004 Troy movie is,
Solid flick.
yeah, it's okay. I revisited it
Hmm.
for this podcast, and it's okay. Like it is
Yeah.
very like we're going for a lot more sort of like action spectacle in that movie than we are this sort of like what the Odyssey is, which is kind of like a meditation on like regret.
Right.
On like, like this kind of like guy being tortured as he tries to make his way home. Whereas Troy is, it's an action flick. And it does set up like the sort of like base characters that appear in this movie, like Helen, like
Right.
Achilles doesn't appear in this movie. Menelaus appears in this movie, who is played by um, fuck, what's Mad Eye Moody's real name again? God damn it.
Brennan Gleeson?
Yes, Brendan
Duh.
Gleeson. Yes, 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 yes.
Oh, okay. Nice.
And Agamemnon is played by Brian Cox in that movie.
So he is fucking great in that movie.
Yeah, he's awesome, dude. Like he
It's
is.
Brian Cox.
I'd suck it. um, and I think that movie's good. Like it's a good movie. It's fun. Like it
Mhm.
introduces you to, like, someone asked me. I guess like some. I love movies like this because they introduce like people to like people who wouldn't necessarily be interested in this kind of stuff to this stuff. So someone
Mhm.
who is doesn't go to the movies a lot obviously heard about this movie and is like, "Oh, I gotta go check that out." So he messaged me and he's like, "Hey, I'm gonna go check this movie out, The Odyssey, tomorrow. Is there anything I need to watch or whatever beforehand?" And I'm like, "You should probably watch Troy. You don't need to, but I mean, I think Troy does a good job of like setting up like what's happening before we dive into like the regret part of it, which is the Odyssey." Um, so yeah, I thought that, yeah. Sorry, this is still my opening thoughts. I'm so sorry this has been going on for so long. I've been sitting on this movie for so long, dude. But yeah, look, that's kind of like my overall thoughts. I adore this movie. I think this, it's hard not to come into this with like some recency bias, and I'm just going to highlight that right here. Like there is obviously going to be some like recency bias like baked into this pod, I think, for me.
Mhm.
And
Fair enough.
whether in like 5 years or 10 years, my thoughts on this change, that is what it is. But having seen this over 2 times now, like the first time I left it with Steph, and like Steph's not into like sword and sandals movies. Like she's just not. Like
Yeah.
this is not like the kind of stuff that she comes out for. And she was just like, "Oh, I really want to go see that." And I was like, "All right, cool." Like we got the invite from fucking Universal, and we like went to the IMAX, and like it was awesome. It was whatever. And then like I turned to her, I'm like, "What'd you think?" And then she's like, "Oh, I was locked in." Like I was locked in from start to finish. Like she didn't like
That's good.
she needs to pee like every
Mhm.
like she hates long movies, but she was just like, "Oh, I was like glued." Like she's like, I was like really like in it, you know.
That's when you know it's special.
Yeah, that's when you know it's special. And like she's like, "What do you think?" And I was like, "I'm kind of lost for words." And the second time I watched it, I took my dad to go see it because he loves sword and sandals movies. And
Mhm.
I turned to my dad and I'm like, "Hey, what'd you think?" And he's like, he literally said exactly what I did. He's like, "I'm speechless."
Yeah.
Like, because it really, like, the way the movie leaves you is like really like it really leaves you breathless. Like the way you kind of like launch into that massive like crescendoing score, and you just see the horse leaning up against the structure, and then it just cuts to black, and it's just like, wow, what the hell did I just experience, kind of thing. It's really hard to leave the movie on a down note, even though it is like a bit
Mhm.
more of a reflective ending. Um, Sorry, my dog is fucking barking out there. But yeah, man, that's our opening thoughts. Let's get into um, we've kind of touched on it. Christopher Nolan as a whole, right? Like, I mean, you talked about it. He's not really a director that we've covered too many times on the pod. Even though I think, well, we've done the Prestige. We haven't done Inception. We
We
haven't done
did.
Interstellar. We've done Dark Knight. We've done Batman Begins. Haven't done Dark Knight Rises, or Dunkirk, or Tenet, or
Or
Oppenheimer,
Memento.
or Memento. So we've only done two
Yeah.
movies. 2 out of 13.
Yeah. Because, yeah, we did Prestige. Well, no, Prestige, Batman Begins, Dark
Oh,
Knight,
yes.
Odyssey.
Sorry. So yeah,
Yeah.
4 out of 14.
So,
Yeah.
which is not bad. I mean, that's pretty. I mean, well, what Edgar Wright films have we covered? We've covered 4. We've done Cornetto and then Baby Driver, and that's really
He's
like
also made less
because we also
movies, though, right? Like,
100%, yeah. But like we also like save these I mean, I don't know at the time. Like, probably the last time we did a Nolan flick, I don't even know. Maybe Interstellar had just come out or something. Like, like
Uh,
it's been so
it would
fucking
have been
long.
like Tenet time. Like Tenet was like
Yeah.
2020s, I think, or 2021.
So he's put out 3 movies since the last time we've talked about one of his, which is nuts. He's put out Oppenheimer and Dunkirk, and now these massive movies.
Incredible, dude.
Um,
Like he brought this movie in under budget and on time, and like it's easy to be under budget when your budget is $250 million, but like on time is crazy. Like like
mhm,
he won the Oscar best director, whatever. Like the Oppenheimer ran the gamut for Oscars,
sure.
and then Universal were just like, let's just give him a fucking blank check, and just kind of like he can do anything to its heart's content. And there were all these rumors about like him maybe directing a Blue Thunder remake, which is that helicopter movie starring Roy Schneider.
I have no fucking clue what that is, by
Oh,
the way. I've
really?
never heard of that before. Yeah.
Uh,
I have no idea what that is.
it's I haven't seen it, but if you just Google Rolling Thunder, it looks wild. It's a 1977 movie, um, and it's about. Is it? No, wait, hang on. Is it Rolling Thunder? Hang on, did I write?
That's
Did I write it wrong?
Roll of Thunder, Hear My Cry. Oh, that's a great book.
Oh, sorry. I think it's Blue Thunder.
Blue
Sorry, Blue
Thunder. Okay.
Thunder.
Don't worry, I
Yes.
still haven't heard of it.
But yeah, basically it's this like helicopter sort of like action movie. And like there was rumors that he was going to do a vampire horror flick, and there was all these just rumors like of like what's he going to do next, because like he's kind of like at that point he's won best director, best screenplay, like just all these Oscars and accolades.
Hmm.
Um, and then like news comes out that he's doing the Odyssey, and Christopher Nolan was actually attached to direct Troy back in 2004, which
Okay.
is
Right before Batman.
so interesting because yeah, it was before Batman, and then that movie was ultimately taken over by Wolfgang Peterson, who was another favorite on this pod. See Air Force One. Um,
Oh, hell yeah.
but Nolan stepped away because he's just like, oh, I don't think I'm really ready for something as big as Troy yet. Let's just let me. But
He's God is just fucking smart, man. That sounds like
yeah,
exactly like something Christopher Nolan would
a
do.
100%, 100%. And then like he does all these movies, and he's like, let me circle back in 20 years and come back to
Hmm.
one of the biggest stories of all time. Like, you know what I mean?
Right.
Um,
Like the hero's journey,
yeah. And I think,
like the hero's journey.
well, I love that. Like, it is, yes, it is the hero's journey, but like the movie interrogates whether he was a hero at all. Like, it's
Sure,
it's it's
sure.
so um, it's so good. Like I'm aware that that's not really like there is there are multiple interpretations of Homer's The Odyssey, and I
Uh-huh.
think the one that he used the most was this Doctor Emily Wilson. I think the interpretation happened or came out in 2017. There's like other multiple sort of like interpretations, but in that one, Odysseus is more of like he's more of a complicated or complex figure. He's a bit more sort of like introspective, and like more sort of like considering of like his visitations to these islands rather than just being a
Almost like a warlord. Yeah.
yeah, yeah, exactly. So I like he was really inspired by that kind of like telling or interpretation of the poem. Um and yeah, man, I like he's I don't know. Like, is he my favorite director? Probably. Like
Yeah.
yeah, like it's hard because like you have for me it's Denis Villeneuve and Christopher Nolan back to back. And I know that is absolutely the film bro answer, but like I'll tell you this right fucking now. I've been in these trenches since like early high school, dude. Like I've been writing for
Oh,
Nolan since
sure.
like Prestige, Batman Begins, man. Like I was a kid and I
Yeah.
saw Batman Begins and I was just like, this is kind of boring compared to like Batman Forever, where everything's just so exciting all the time and like whatever. But it felt so real at the time. Like I mean, obviously I was like
Hmm.
12 years old, but and then like
Sure. And it was 2005.
it
Yeah.
was 2005, and I think the one that really like knocked my socks off was The Prestige. That was the first time I remember like really like locking into a Nolan movie. That was before Inception came out. I think that was before The Dark Knight came out, and I just remember locking into
Yeah.
that movie and being like, "This is fucking incredible, dude! Like, this is
Hmm.
absolutely a genius movie." It might be his most sort of like, yeah, like there's some silly stuff that happens in that movie. Like,
Hmm.
we covered that movie, right? Like, we acknowledged that like Hugh Jackman finding a double exactly that looks just like him is like fucking ridiculous. But like the screenplay, other than like that kind of stuff, is like really bulletproof. Like, it is
Yeah.
like crazy bulletproof. And I feel like, those screenplays that he writes with Jonathan Nolan, his brother, they do like lean into a lot more sort of like emotionality, whereas like Christopher Nolan is a bit more sort of like he's a bit more cold and calculating in his approach. Like Inception
Hmm.
wasn't a Jonathan Nolan movie. Neither was Dunkirk, neither was Tenet, neither is this. And I think this is the first time in a long time when Nolan has actually been a bit more emotional. This is a very emotional movie. Like, when he is talking to Penelope by the steps and like he sees Athena, who has kind of like taken the form of this Trojan girl who got murdered when they
Hmm.
sacked, when they sacked Troy. That like really kind of like pulls at the heartstrings, dude. Like, she's like he's reaching out and then she disappears, and she disappears like when he kind of like comes to terms with his like guilt.
This
Um
participation, yeah,
yeah,
in this acting, yeah.
it's really it's a great script, and it's honestly like mind bending that he did it in less than 2 years. Like, just mind
Yeah.
bending.
Well, and I'll be honest with you, like as I'm watching this, I was thinking about this earlier, and it's like I miss when these were like mini series, that would come out later on like VHS, but they would be on TV for like 2, 3, 4, 5 night like mini series. And I would absolutely love if this was like a 10-hour long form, like a full fleshed out like long form version of the Odyssey. Because those you can watch in like breaks. It's basically television at that point. Um, but I think like going back to what you said about uh his career like as a whole, uh I do think Prestige is probably my favorite of his films. I think Prestige is probably, I think it's my, I don't know if it's the best one, but it's probably my favorite. It's just it's kind of simple, but it gets a little complicated, and there is like a little bit of magic in it, kind of like the Odyssey. There's a little bit of it, but it's like it's not so like vulgar.
Mm.
It's very subtle. It's shown in these like very subtle ways. um so I think Prestige might be the best one, but I think coming back to the Odyssey is like tackling something like this. The scale of it and everything is absolutely massive, but then also it's like, but what is the Odyssey actually, trying to say at the end of the day? And I like what Lindsay said. Lindsay was like, this is someone who he basically had to go and lose he had to lose himself,
Yeah,
and through losing all of that and just being unplugged for so long, here's this person that uh, to forget is a sin.
mhm,
To forget all of that is just would be the ultimate sin. So I like the fact that he has to like kind of come to terms and remember what
yeah,
exactly he was. Because it's like you said, it's not just, oh, I was a soldier and I attacked. You came up with the
right,
fucking plan.
exactly.
Like you're the one who came up with you came up with the Trojan horse.
Well, and I feel like, um, I feel like Nolan's interested in two things right now, right? Just looking at his past movies, he's always sort of been interested in like the going home sort of like aspect, right? Like, I mean,
Yeah.
if you look at Inception, it's
Yeah.
Leonardo DiCaprio wanting to go home pretty much the whole movie. Dunkirk is about soldiers trying to get home. Um, Interstellar, certainly, it's Matthew McConaughey trying to get home to his kids. Like, oh, yeah, it's interesting because like he's essentially made the Odyssey three times
Hmm.
before making the Odyssey. Interstellar, especially, is like very
Uh huh.
Odyssey esque. Like, like them, it because the Odyssey is very episodic, and I think that really lends deeply into like what you're talking about, like it can absolutely work as like a mini series, a limited event series.
Hmm.
I don't think that anyone can like make this movie quite like. I don't think anyone that like. Sorry, let me say. Let me take that again. I don't think anyone can take this movie and recreate it as a series. It can absolutely be a series as a different sort of adaptation, but this movie absolutely works as an incredible cinematic achievement. Um,
Hmm.
but I think what I was gonna say was like Interstellar is like very episodic as well. Like like them dropping in on the water planet and then them dropping in on man's planet. And then like you kind of have like these sort of like interspersed sequences of them on the ship back on the fuck, I forgot the name of the ship. I was about to say Endeavor, but that's not it.
Oh, I
Anyway,
can't remember. I haven't seen it in so long.
I just remember that Matt Damon's name in that movie was Doctor Hugh Mann.
That's literally like that's like a Futurama
Right.
reference, I think. Where
Oh,
he's
is
like,
it? Well, I
yeah,
mean,
yeah,
it's Nolan just trying to be cute, but I mean, that kind of gets me into the other thing that Nolan's really interested in right now is that that he's kind of becoming, or he has become, a lot more cynical about humanity in the last few years. So, and I don't think you've seen Tenet, right? Like, I don't really think you've seen
no,
Tenet.
mm-mm.
Yeah. Okay. So the overall sort of like theme in like Interstellar is like humans destroyed the Earth, and that's
Hmm.
why the Earth is the way it is. And then you've got Tenet, which is like spoilers for Tenet, by the way. You've got this sort of like war that's happening, but it's the future humans who have caused this war. So
Hmm.
it's kind of like we've destroyed ourselves sort of situation. Dunkirk is another situation of like we've kind of like ended up here on this beach because of World War II, and we've again humanity's destroying itself in the process of destroying itself. Um, Oppenheimer, it's obviously clear that that's probably the most clear where it's like we've destroyed ourselves by creating these nuclear devices, and then here with the Odyssey, he's like really reckoning with this with the with the horse being like, oh fuck, we've destroyed ourselves. Essentially, we've like
Right.
brought down civilization. So I think there is like this really interesting thing happening with Nolan right now, where it's very clear that he's interested in like telling these stories about humanity destroying itself, or like
Yeah,
it's
playing Russian
yeah
roulette. Yeah.
it's kind of like these. I don't know if it is like these um cautionary tales, or if it's if
Mm.
he's just sort of like really interested in like you know it's these like stakes of like this is what could happen, or what do you think about that? What's your take on that? Because like it's
No,
clear that there is a through line like in his movies, like especially lately.
oh yeah, but like Dark Knight, Prestige, Inception, there's obviously, like you said, movies where the whole getting home theme, but
Oh
like
yeah, even
the
sorry, even the Dark Knight, like the Joker doesn't happen without the creation of the Batman, right? Like that guy only
right,
exists because the Batman's there.
right. Well, and I think it's this inability to you know uh, somebody to see the things that they're currently surrounded with and trying to change them, and ultimately, you have, is it Cobb? Is that his
Yeah,
name in
Cobb,
Inception?
Dom Cobb.
He's stuck in this situation. I want to change my surroundings. I want to go back home. Matthew McConaughey, ultimately the world is kind of fucked. I need to help save it. Batman, I want to change the scene around me. So you have this kind of through line through that, but then also there's always this very black kind of existential dread, and I mean, obviously that's massive in Oppenheimer for
Obvious reasons.
obvious
Yeah.
reasons. But it's also things in, I mean, it's literally like what the Joker says is like, I wanted to show that good people, I can make good people do bad
Hmm.
things, and I think that's a run, not savaging Tenet, Dunkirk, or Oppenheimer. I think that from one of the movies I've seen, that definitely seems like to be something as a through line. Even in Batman Begins, like the League of Shadows trying to
Sure.
make Bruce sack Gotham City, he's like, no, like I won't.
Because of humanity,
Um,
because of the way that humanity's treated themselves. Like again, we
right,
kind of go back to the whole like we fucked ourselves into oblivion.
Hmm. Absolutely.
By the way, out of the three of those movies that you haven't seen, Dunkirk is incredible. Dude. You got to watch Dunkirk. It is like a
Hmm.
it's
I really want to see Tenet.
Tenet.
Sounds like right up my
Yeah,
alley.
Tenet is incredible. Like Steph and I watched it not too long ago. And it's so good to watch like away from like the release, like you're kind of away from like all the hoopla of it all. But like if you watch it as just like a turn your brain off, like and like Nolan invites you to do that. He's just like there's literally a line in the movie where it's just like don't think about it, just feel it. And it's just
Yeah.
like if you watch it like that, it's an absolutely rip roaring good time at the movies. All right, so let's. I don't want to spend too much time on this, but the casting slash racist garbage and historical bullshit that people are attaching to this movie is really like deafening. And it's I don't know. I want to say it is a vocal minority on the internet, but it's tough because like I messaged a friend of mine and I'm like, hey, you gotta go check out this fucking movie, man. Like you're gonna love this because I know that he's a big Sword and Sandals movie fan and
Hmm.
he's a Nolan fan as well. And I'm like, you should go check this out. And it's just like, oh, I heard they made Helen of Troy black. And I was just like, hey, I've just lost a bit of respect for you because I think like he was just trying to G me up as well. Like he's just trying to grind my gears a little bit. But like,
Yeah.
I was disappointed that that kind of negativity had reached him because he's also not always online like a lot of people are now. Like, you know what I mean? So I was like, damn, like if this kind of like bullshit has reached you, then it's so disappointing that these people who I initially thought were the vocal minority are kind
Hmm.
of like really getting out there. And like I I'm gonna just say this, and we'll get your piece on it, then we'll move on. I I feel bad for people who let that kind of stuff ruin an experience like this for themselves.
Hmm.
You know what I mean?
No, I definitely agree. Well, I don't want to cut you off. Keep going.
No,
I don't
that's all
want
I was gonna say.
to.
I
Okay.
don't, yeah,
Um, no, I definitely agree with that, and I could see if it was something like jarring, and or it was a historical character taken out of context or something like that. Is it different? Sure, yeah, it's different than what we're used to, but that different doesn't necessarily always mean it's a bad
right,
thing, you know. And I think also not only with uh oh my god, Lupita Nyong'o,
yeah,
is that right? Is that how you
yep,
pronounce it? Thank you. And then obviously Elliot Page, I think was a big one. And Travis Scott to a lesser
sure,
extent. You know, I think people were just more so like, what the fuck aren't you supposed to be like getting people crushed at a concert? Like, what are you doing here?
sure,
Fucking asshole. But I think a lot of that, like, it was so funny to see. You imagine all the hours of content that some of these people on the internet made, both good and bad, about these actors in the movie, and then it ends up being, I mean, God, Elliot Smith has 4 minutes of screen time,
yeah.
5. Like,
And she crushed.
Helena Troy
Sorry,
has,
he crushes both of them. Like
yeah.
absolutely, like the Hades scene is something we're gonna get into. Like,
Oh, bro,
but
it's
like I
great.
was like, this might be the standout sequence of the movie for me. But like,
Hmm. It
when
was, yeah, he was excellent.
his performance in the Hades sequence is stunning. Um,
Hmm.
but like again, I don't mean to cut you off. But Lupita Nyong'o, see, I feel that Nolan has cast his movie based on the performers that he believes are going to do the best job at their roles. Like Lupita Nyong'o she's got like 3 minutes in the movie, and she is an Oscar-winning actress who kills all of her scenes. She's playing two characters. She's playing Helen and her sister Clemenestra. Um, and as both characters, she gets two great standout sequences. Like when she
Uh-huh.
obviously stabs Agamemnon, and then when the other scene that I really like is when she's saying goodbye to Telemachus, and she whispers in his ear as Helen, and she's like, "Tell your mother I'm so sorry for starting this war." And you feel it.
Hmm.
You feel that like regret, because in Troy,
Yeah.
she willingly goes with Paris to Troy, and which causes the beginning of the war.
Hmm.
And you get a sense of you get a sense of that regret. So I don't know, man. Like I thought, like Lupita just did an incredible job, and these people had not having seen the movie, mostly not having seen the movie. I don't think that. I think the majority of like the people that make that kind of content, that really kind of like um make that kind of like grift effort to sort of like
Yeah.
whatever, haven't seen the movie, have seen like clips or cam rips or like whatever, and they're just kind of like, let me pass judgment on this because it's not something that I'm used to.
Yeah. Well, and I think all of it just ended up becoming kind of a wet fart,
Right.
that it was just, it ended up being this big nothing burger that these people blew some of these people out, and I don't think anyone realized that like it was a lot of these were almost going to be like borderline cameos, that a lot of these were going to be very small, but these people are like, no, it's a Nolan flick. I come on, I'll take what like Zendaya's in this for what, like 3, 4 minutes.
Right.
And she's like, I absolutely, like, I can ride to work with Tom and we can just, like, yeah, absolutely. It'd be so fucking easy.
Just coming off the set of
Um,
Spider-Man, Brand New Day,
yeah.
Brave New World.
Which yeah, I'm excited for. That's a good one. I'm looking forward to it. But yeah, ultimately it sucks. There's always going to be, is it controversial casting? No, but it's a surprise. Sure.
Yeah.
Like it's not, wouldn't be the first person I would pick, but I don't think it's a bad pick at all, and I'm glad to see a lot of that hot air just kind of fizzled out very quickly.
I'm glad that people went to watch the movie, and just really didn't give a fuck about that kind of shit. Like, you know what I mean? Like, it's just like that people spoke for themselves by giving the movie money, and it's doing incredibly well. All right, let's move on. Ludwig Göransson's score. Ludwig Göransson has 2 Oscars, and he's like 30 something, dude. Like the guy is just absolutely killing it. He like organized like actual sort of like ancient flutes that these two kind of like people had to like physically research as to like how they would have used these flutes back in the day. They actually did like their research. They went to fucking ancient scholars and all that stuff, and they were just like, how would they have played this shit? And you can
Hmm.
hear that in the movie. But I mean, like, there's 2 sequences where the score is just like really like holy fuck, and that is the first sequence for me is like when they're in Troy. As soon as they leave the belly of the horse to like open up the gates of Troy, there's like an escalating drum that plays, and it
Hmm.
is I I went to the gym this morning and I played that one in my headphones, dude, and I was like pumping. I was like, let's fucking go. Even though like,
Yeah.
that's not the point of like what the movie is trying to make, but like, absolutely brilliant.
But yeah, it's got to have its action pieces.
Exactly. And the other one is the probably the most obvious when they're in the dining hall, right, in Ithaca, and
Hmm.
he's stringing together the bow, and then you've heard the theme, like that 3 note theme, like multiple times, the dun 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 dun, four note, my bad. You've heard that
Yeah.
multiple times throughout the movie, and then like once it happens, when like he's putting together the bow, and then it goes dun dun dun, and then it holds, and then he plucks it, and the last pluck
Mm.
is that last note,
Is the key.
and
Yeah.
it's baked into the score. Like if you listen to the score on Spotify, it's there. You can hear the bow pluck.
Mm.
And that was the second time that I levitated in the movie, dude. I was just like, "Oh my god, what the fuck?"
Yeah, the sound right there at the end when he shows up, and not only the siren part obviously
Yeah,
gets me because you can kind of make out what's going on,
sure.
but then at the end of it where the whole room, like when he like bends that bow and the whole room like just like stops, you see him like
Yeah,
click the thing, and you can see the people in the room like kind of go
yeah.
nuts up.
Dr. Dre gets a
Uh,
fucking arrow in his neck.
Yeah, and I think, yeah, I think so far with like the score and stuff as well, the sound design is the the sound of we'll get into like what the witch is doing, but the sound of it and the sound of like, what is she whispering to him? She's like, put your disguise back on, put your disguise
Yes.
back on, put your disguise back
Yes.
on. And I was like, oh my God. Like, but it was so, it felt like a Robert Eggers film, just that kind of
It was beautiful.
sound design, the stick snapping kind of thing.
It was beautiful.
Uh, so yeah, I thought it was mixed really well because I know Nolan had a little bit of criticism for some of his sound stuff. Like
Hmm.
sometimes
Yeah.
the action can kind of like overload stuff, but I didn't really. There wasn't like.
No.
There's plenty of times in movies now I'm having to go, what? Like, huh?
Yeah,
But no, this is fine.
certainly in like Tenet and Dunkirk and Oppenheimer, like he has an issue with audio mixes, and I think like a lot of the reason for that is because he's using these massive IMAX cameras and they're so famously loud. But
Hmm.
it's great that we're talking about this now because this is the next topic that I want to talk about is the IMAX, and they actually physically had to build what's called a blimp to like kind of suppress the sound of it. Like it's so loud that they had to create this massive enclosure to suppress it. But of course, that introduced another massive issue: is that that camera became so big that the actors couldn't see around the camera to the person
Hmm.
that they were speaking to. So Nolan created this sort of like mirror system so their eye lines like match up, and you don't get any of that in the movie. You don't get that any of those issues happened like
No,
in like on set, that these people were not looking at each other face to face. They're kind of like staring, like let's say Menelaus, or well, let's say you have Telemachus and Menelaus talking to each other at the dining table, right? Like they're sitting right next to each other, but there's a fucking camera in the middle, right? So to maintain the eye line, like there's a photo of it, it's fantastic. Literally, like Tom Holland is looking to the right, but he's still looking at John Bernthal
hmm
because of the way the mirrors are set up. It's fucking ingenious, dude. Also, they had to create like a totally new IMAX camera for this movie, and they lovingly called it the Keeley, which is named after David Keeley, who was like a massive IMAX executive. I think he had a hand in creating the brand.
Oh, nice. Oh yeah.
You might know that name because his son is Jeff Keeley, who is the massive gaming guy. He runs
Oh,
he runs
nice.
the Game Awards. Yeah.
Hell yeah, nice. Uh,
Yeah.
no, no, uh, sorry, lost my train of thought. I haven't seen a movie in IMAX in so fucking long, and I need to. But I think there's one. The closest one to me is like 45 minutes
Yeah.
away, maybe. And there's a theater that's 25 minutes away, and I'm like, fuck, I'll just go to the one. I'm not going to add another 40 minutes of driving on for IMAX. But I do think like I'll make an exception for Nolan flicks. I think those are the films that are, if the film is made, in that kind, if it's filmed in that way, then I prefer to see it in the way that the creators, want you to see it.
So so I just googled this, right? So there are 40 IMAX cinemas that can play 70 millimeter IMAX in the world, right?
Hmm.
So that obviously means this is going to get fucking nerdy, and I hope the listeners stick around for this. 70 millimeter film is the biggest kind of film that you can make. It's literally you can see a comparison of it. Generally movies are shot in 35
Yeah.
millimeter film, um, or they were shot in 35 millimeter film. That's you know kind of outdated now because most movies are shot digitally. But 70 millimeter is double that, obviously. And what ends up, uh, what the benefit is that the resolution of the film that you're seeing is incredibly high quality. We watched Oppenheimer on 70 millimeter IMAX when it came out, and you could see like the pores in like fucking Killian Killian Murphy's nose, dude. Like it is gorgeously breathtaking. If you do get the chance to go see 70 millimeter IMAX, you should absolutely go do it. There is one in Nashville, Colin. Regal
Oh,
Regal
nice.
Opry Mills and IMAX So apparently,
That's where I saw the Stranger Things finale. That
oh,
theater
okay.
was when they came to theater. It wasn't in IMAX, but yeah.
So that is one of 40 in the world. Our closest
Damn.
70 millimeter IMAX is in Melbourne, which is we need to catch a flight to go see that. Um, it's a
Jesus.
13-hour drive. Um,
God
yeah,
damn.
so I watched it in IMAX, but it was laser. So that's pretty much the same thing, but just digital. Like it's not film, and it still looks great. It looked absolutely incredible. You still get the massive aspect ratio. IMAX, if you're listening, IMAX is designed to be tall and wide, whereas usually we're
Yeah.
watching just wide, like a wide movie. But tall and wide is like the whole frame of the camera. If you imagine the sensor of the camera is a square, then it uses the whole sensor of the camera. Um, and yeah, like watching this movie in 70 millimeter IMAX. Oh, sorry, in laser IMAX was absolutely breathtaking. It took up the whole screen, the whole field of vision. This is the first movie ever to be completely filmed in IMAX. So we've never had a movie that can play fully in IMAX. You know, if you go watch Oppenheimer, if you go watch The Dark Knight, you'll see those massive IMAX sequences. But for some scenes, they'll kind of like shrink down to a different aspect ratio because they couldn't film all of that in IMAX. But now we have the technology to do
Mhm.
that, so that's very exciting. Yeah, man, I think like I'm truly of the opinion that IMAX is now the format to beat. Like, I absolutely despise 40X. I think 40X is an absolute travesty. I watched Backrooms at
That's a seat
40X.
rocking and shit,
Yeah,
right?
yeah, yeah. I watched
Yeah.
Backrooms in that, and it was just it's just really not a good experience. Um, but yeah, man, like IMAX is the way to go. Okay, let's move on. Let's get into the sequences of this movie, and we'll kind of like talk about things a little bit more in depth. We're gonna go through each of the each of the islands that he sort of visits, and like talk about like the big things that happen there. Let's start off with the Cyclops, right? So, um, this is just after they visit that island that I told you that they kind of like sack and Eurylochus. Oh, yeah, sorry, fuck that up. Eurylochus. I can't fucking
Euripides.
can't fucking say it, dude. Um, fuck, I just lost his name. Eurylochus. God damn it.
There you go.
Eurylochus
Eucalyptus.
says, yeah, exactly. Eurylochus says, no, 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 we're not the same people. We're Greeks. So, like, that's just before this man is like, oh, you don't want to go that way. That way is trouble, right? So they get back on
Mhm.
their boat and then they get blown away by Poseidon to a different island. And on that island, they encounter a cave. They walk in and they get fucking trapped because a massive fucking cyclops puts a giant stone across the opening cave, the
Mhm.
opening of the mouth of the cave. And I thought that this was absolutely entrancing. Like I thought the way they shot this was brilliant. Because like at first it's a bit dark and you're just like, what the fuck's kind of going on here?
Mhm.
Um,
Feels like the Predator, though.
yeah.
Like,
Well, the feeling of like them being trapped because you can hear it's breathing. Like them, the
mhm.
feeling of them like being trapped in there, like with something like that huge is fucking wild. But then you see it as it kind of like leans down and like you kind of see it through like the light of the fire, and it is practical for the most part. Like it is a giant puppet. There's a great behind the scenes. It's a giant puppet. It's played by and then like when it's not a puppet, it's kind of like forced perspective, and it's played by Bill
Mhm.
Irwin, who played Tars in Interstellar. He was kind of like the
Oh, nice. Yeah,
yeah,
yeah, yeah.
yeah,
The big robot.
yeah, yeah. So he's kind of like a Nolan sort of like a regular, but like you can absolutely see in like some of those wide shots of like that is a man, like that is a man that is
Right,
like
right.
designed to look big. They, it really harkens back to how they did like Lord of the Rings. Um,
Yeah.
it looks cool, dude, and like some of the sound design in there when like he picks up one of the soldiers and like he takes a bite, it's like that muted sort of like sound, and it's just like really slow, and it's like, you kind of like,
Like a wet crunch.
yeah, and like you see like the pieces of the soldier falling to the ground as he kind of like chomps on this dude. Um,
It felt like that old '70s Clash of the Titans, not the Liam Neeson ones,
yeah,
but the Burgess Meredith Clash of the Titans from
the
back in the
Ray
day.
Harryhausen sort of like
Yes,
effects. Yes, exactly.
it
That's
gave me like a Harryhausen feeling, you
for
know.
sure. Nolan was inspired by the famous Goya painting Saturn devouring the sun. If you look that up,
Mm,
like you'll be like, oh, okay, it's very clear that that's where he got
just
his.
brutal.
Yeah, yeah. It's a fucking horrific painting. Yeah,
Yeah, just those like Christopher Walken
yeah,
eyes, like
dude,
staring at him.
terrifying. I thought that sequence was excellent, dude. Like just like the
Yeah.
guys in the cave just trying to figure out like how to get out of there, and it was very tense, and you do kind of like
Oh, dude.
yeah.
No, no, no. Sorry. Go ahead. Keep
I
going.
was gonna say you do kind of end up feeling for the Cyclops. Like it's just like
A little bit.
it's like
Yeah.
holy shit. And then like that's kind of when like the curse starts, right? Because once they escape, they're on the ship and like Odysseus's men are like, "Hey, you've just angered the son of Poseidon, so we're
Mm.
fucked."
No, absolutely. Well, that and I think 100% like you do kind of start feeling for the Cyclops at first, especially when he starts actually speaking like
Yeah,
English. Like you can understand what he's saying.
you can absolutely make
But
out
I
Poseidon. He says Poseidon.
yes, it's like enough where it's like you hear a voice and you're like, is that English? And then you hear like hamburger. You're like, okay, yeah, yeah. But no, I think the giant part of the movie was when I was like, okay, now you have my attention.
Yes.
Like up until then, like it was, you're kind of figuring out the mystery of like what's going on at first, like because I think it starts with Elliot Page on the beach, right? That's like the first. Is that one of the first shots of the
Yeah,
movie?
it kicks off with Elliot Page on the beach, and the Trojans kind of like ride up to sort of like meet her. Meet. Ah, I keep saying her. Fuck.
Yeah, here's and I'll be because I've done the same thing a few
Yeah,
times. I'm like, listen, you were somebody else to me for a long
exactly.
time. Even if you were my friend, it's going to take me
I
a little
know. I
while
know.
to just like it took you a while to get used to it. It's going to take
Right.
me a while to get used to it, and I'm fully supportive of that. I don't give a fuck.
Yeah.
You're an adult. Like, do whatever you want. But
He gets
we were
nailed by the Trojans to the horse. Yeah.
yeah, and I think at the beginning of that, the first, I knew I had more patience for this movie than I normally would have because, like, the first 30 to 40 minutes, I was kind of like, okay, yeah, like, but I get it. This movie's going to be 3 hours long. We got to set some shit up. But, like, I know once we get the pillars up, it's going to,
Yeah.
it's going to look big. And it did. But the giant part is when I was like, okay, now you have
Right.
it. Now I'm very interested in, like, we have because also that is not a big Nolan. I don't think I've ever seen a monster in a Nolan flick like an
No, this
actual
is like
classic.
actual fantasy stuff. Yeah.
Yeah, and I think it'll go down probably as his like. I mean, it's definitely his most kind of like fanciful, mythical,
Hmm.
mystical kind of movie. But the magic is treated like. I think it's treated really well. The supernatural elements, if you want to call them that, are treated really well. That I think it works. I think it works better than I thought it was going to initially. You know.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And then like after that, they kind of they escape the Cyclops. They escape. I think they call him Polyphemus in the poem, but
Mhm.
they escape and then they end up at a different. They make landing at a different island, and they get absolutely fucked up by. They're not named in this adaptation, but I think they're called the Lestragonians in the poem.
Mhm. Mhm.
That's these giant sort of like metallic sort of warriors who just stomp their
Decimate.
asses, dude. It's not even like a fight. Like there are
No.
like a couple points when like some of Odysseus and his men start to like actually try to like get into engage in combat with these guys, and it
The
just
fucking trees are moving and shit.
dude, the first time I noticed one of the trees moving, I was like, "Holy fuck, we
Yeah.
are in full fantasy land." And the trees kind of like trapping some of his men, and like so the
Mhm.
Lestragonians can like absolutely like decimate him is terrifying because like there's just no fighting these guys. Like they're so outgunned and outmatched that they just have
Yeah.
to like fucking retreat back to their ships, and they lose 2 out of 3 ships there. Um,
And that's I'm glad you brought that up because that's what I think that these kind of giant warriors serve for. But I do think if you cut any of the stops along the way back home, I think you can cut this one.
Mhm.
Like I don't hate it, but I felt like having just faced what is essentially a
Yeah.
giant, the Cyclops, and then you run up and there's like, oh, well, they're not as big as the first one, but there's like 40 of them, and it's like, yeah, okay, like I could have done without this, but I'm not like mad about it. I just think you could have had the Cyclops wreck two of the ships,
Look at
like
that.
that would, and I would have been fine
Colin's
with
got
that.
notes for Homer.
Yeah. Yeah. Hey, let me tell you a little something about
Hey,
editing. Well,
I
I've
remember.
seen Heat about 44 times.
Uh,
Or I think if you spaced them
Yeah.
out, if you made it like a little bit, not back to back, I think it
I
could
think you
work.
definitely have a point. I think like there is this like sort of sense of repetition on the scale. If we are
Mhm,
like ranking like my favorite sequences, this isn't up there. But
mhm.
I still find it quite thrilling, especially when they come across the kid who is like their sized, and it's just like, oh, okay, what the fuck's going on here? And then the kid runs off into the mist, and then they start sort of appearing out of the mist, and
Yeah.
it's terrifying. And
Oh, he's like, that's a child.
right, exactly, and all of that again is forced perspective, right? It's what Ridley did in Alien. You kind of have shorter women mostly in
Mhm.
like playing Odysseus's men, and you have giant fucking beef-caked men as the Lestrygonians. That's what's going on
I
there.
think they literally had children in Alien,
Yeah,
right? In the
they had like
spacesuits.
Ridley's kids or like producer's kids or something like that. I can't
Yeah.
remember, but
Because that's like a real human. That's just a human sized, like I guess, engineer
sure,
now. Is that what they call
yeah.
it? Yeah. That's awesome, and like it looks cool. Them like smacking them against trees and splitting them in half
Oh,
and stuff. It's like, oh, I have no problem with
dude,
this because this is cool as
that
shit.
one
But
guy that gets fucking tossed through the tree and the tree just like splits in half is
explodes.
incredible
Yeah.
shot. To your point, though, I think Nolan took some measures to reduce the repetition because in the poem, the Lestrygonians are cannibals. So,
Yeah. 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 Yeah.
rather than having a giant cannibal straight into smaller but still giant cannibals, you
hmm
know, here's kind of like
He turned them into like Knights of Templar.
right. All right, and then after that, we kind of like we get the we get probably the most kindest mutiny I've ever seen on screen. Right, like when they arrive at
Yeah.
Cersei's sort of like beach. Eurylochus is just like, "Hey, we're doing a mutiny on you, so
Yeah. Is this a mutiny? Doesn't have to be.
yeah."
That
It's great. I think Himesh Patel, by the way, just I already said it. Like he's putting in the work in this movie. Like
very likable.
it's not like he's like over the top or anything. He's not like Antinous, like Robin Pattinson or anything. But like his little
hmm
moments, and then his final moment is like one of my favorite moments in the movie. When like if you can make it out, I couldn't make it out, but the second time I really made it out. And he's just like, pray for forgiveness, pray to
Oh
Poseidon. I
yeah.
was like, oh my goodness, dude, that is terrifying. Um,
Yeah.
but this is the Cersei sequence, right? So some great editing here. Jennifer Lame is Christopher Nolan's editor. She won an Oscar for Oppenheimer. She does some incredible work in this movie, like the cutting back and forth between um, Odysseus's men going up the mountain to Cersei's hut,
hmm
intercut with Odysseus hunting this deer, which turns out to be a man, is fascinating. Like
No,
this
it's
this
great, and it also
yeah.
it makes you feel that like urgency of
Oh,
like, bro, like holy shit! Thank God Odysseus didn't go up there.
absolutely. Like to me, like I didn't know any of this was going to happen. Like like I kind of like watched this in real time, and I was like, "What's going to happen here?" I didn't know that they were going to
hmm
encounter a witch who turns men into pigs. Like I just didn't know that. That's not really something that really reached me. Um, so I was like really surprised when this happened, and as they're kind of like, she invites them in, like, take off your armor, leave your weapons outside, blah blah, and then they sit down and they're so this was this sequence kind of got a lot of hype, right? Because you saw these articles that were like Nolan's like directed his first horror sequence, and in my opinion, this kind of like lives up to the hype. Like I thought that this was kind of terrifying, man. Like holy,
Oh, no,
the
absolutely! It's one of the best parts of the
the
movie.
look on their faces as they're eating, and they just can't
Yeah.
stop like eating. And not only that, but the design choice to have them eating this like solid sort of like tentacle, this white thing that is going down their throats. I don't
Hmm.
know what that is, and I love that I don't know what that is. Like, it is just so otherworldly.
Yeah. It looks like a like bad octopus or something, you know. Her like I don't know, her sculpting them like I
Yeah.
don't know, like
Dude, when
oh my
she
god,
like
that's when I was
shoves
like,
her fucking whole arm down that guy's fucking, you know.
yeah, that was great. I was laughing at that and like when like she's like it reminds me of that old I think it's the Twilight Zone where the guy's face is just like
Mhm.
mud. Well, I can't remember what speaking of Clayface, holy
Right,
shit.
right.
Yeah, that Clayface trailer was
It
great.
was.
Um but no, that was one of my favorite parts of the movie was Circe the Witch and the fact that it kind of plays back in the two. It's interesting. I think I can't remember. I can't. I'm not going to remember half these fucking names. I'm just saying that now. I'm just fucking putting that out
Just
there.
tell me who you're.
But his second in command,
Yes,
uh,
Eurylochus.
Eurylochus. Eurylochus says when he shoots the Cyclops, he's like, "Do you not have any like
Right.
mercy?" You know, and they come across the giant warriors and they get like their dicks split open, and then we go to the witch. And the witch he's like, okay, well, does actually show her mercy. You know, it's like, I like that because he's kind of learning, and it's funny because he does kind of owe the team because if he had gone with him, they would have supped and been all turned into pigs and he never would have gone up there
Yep.
to save them. So I like that about Odysseus because it's like the Odysseus of before he got two ships killed might have had the ego to be like, yeah, cut her head off. What do I care? Like that kind of attitude. But it just shows a little bit of compromise. Not so much just
Yeah.
barbarism.
It is him like learning these like important lessons before he makes his way back to Ithaca, right? Like
Hmm.
it's great stuff. Like him just being challenged at sort of like each island, not just physically, but like mentally and morally as well. Um, that Circe the witch sequence is absolutely incredible. Really well rendered. Like really well told. Samantha Morton just doing an absolute incredible performance. It's like like when we get that moment of like him kind of like reaching out for his sister, like the crow. Um,
Hmm.
Just really great stuff. And then like she really sells her fear as well. Like like Odysseus is like, "Did they hurt you?" And then she's like, "They would have. They
Uh-huh.
all do." Like and it's just like it's this not just fear of like warfare or soldiers or like whatever, but like men as well. And
Sure.
it's something that makes its way into current storytelling quite a bit as well. But not just storytelling, but just the world in general in society. So like
Yeah.
whether this is from the poem or not, I think Nolan does a great job of like this is a great example of him modernizing the Odyssey.
Oh yeah, well, and I mean, for God's sake, she's a woman in the Bronze Age,
Right,
and then not only that, she's a witch. It's like, yeah, she's probably not the most popular with the guys in
right.
town, you know.
I love these. Like we don't actually see Odysseus's men stealing or like raping or whatever, but it
Hmm.
is always implied. Like, you know what I mean? Like, it's always like
Right?
implied that they are the bad guys because if you watch Troy, the the Greeks are kind of the bad guys. They're
Yeah.
not really the good guys. And then I was telling Steph that after the movie, she's like, "Oh, I always thought the Greeks were the bad guys, like in the Troy story." And I'm like, "Yeah, they are. Like they are. Like the movie just kind of like recontextualizes, the beginning of this movie as like, oh, maybe we are like there's a great moment in Euphoria when like they're watching this play and she's like, "Is this play about us?" Like like it's kind of like it's kind of what's going on here. All right, so Circe sends them to Hades, right? This
Mm,
this sequence, which was shot in Iceland, is absolutely visually stunning. Like, I mean, where the fire meets the river, like it's absolutely gorgeous. But like here you get Elliot Page's great performance as she kind of like tells Odysseus about you betrayed me, like, like I trusted you, I was your, I was your guy, and you
Hmm.
kind of like left me out there in the dust, and like here are all these like soldiers that you dishonored. um like, um what do you think about this before we do get to Agamemnon sort of like sequence here? Tell me about what you thought about Elliot Page's moment here.
No, I liked it a lot because I think to front load him in that first scene and then not bring him back was I was like, oh, that's kind of disappointing. But then when he just because is it him or is it because James Remar is the blindfolded
Yes.
guy, by the
Yes.
way,
So James
um,
Remar is Tiresias. He's kind of like this the seer.
Tiresias.
Yeah.
So which one of them comes out of the
That's
ground? Is
Tiresias.
it James Remar?
Yeah.
Okay, gotcha. But just that black kind of hellscape that they live
Mhm.
in, where it's just this it's like a battlefield of like lost souls. There's an old game a long time ago called The Darkness. Really, really
Yeah.
great game for maybe 20 years ago. This shit came out. But Mike Patton from Faith No More is the voice of like the darkness. But there's when your character dies, you go to a hell that's very similar to that. It's a World War like II battlefield, and it's the fact that they have to like live in this mortal plane, and the whole part of Agamemnon, like the it's the it felt like a Tony Soprano dream. Hades feels like a Tony Soprano dream to
Absolutely.
me. When he in those first couple of seasons, when he's in Dr. Melzi's office and he dreams of Hesh outside the window, and
Oh,
Hesh just like roller skates by, and you're
that
like,
was Agamemnon, dude. Like that was like the
right,
way
you're right,
Agamemnon moves like from behind that soldier.
King Aggie as we call him. Yeah.
Yeah. And then when he's done telling his story, he just goes back, he just like drifts back to where he
Yes.
was. Like
Yeah. He's Homer in the shrub, just like
oh, dude.
moving back into the fucking
It's
thing.
such a small touch to kind of have him hover, and I was like,
It's
it's
terrifying.
terrifying,
Absolutely terrifying.
terrifying. But yeah, Elliot Page is Sinon, kind of like a great soldier and the son of the servant Antinous, of a servant of Antinous, who was recruited as a child to be raised to serve as a soldier who would reach adulthood upon the Greeks' arrival at Troy. So Sinon makes Odysseus aware of like his dishonor of the soldiers. So
Right.
that is,
And
yeah,
I also real quick want to make sure. So is Robert Pattinson's character Elliot Page's brother? They're brothers,
they're not
right?
brothers, they're friends.
Right. But he took his, like, Elliot Page took Robert Pattinson's place, right?
Correct.
Isn't that is
Yeah.
okay? Gotcha. I just want to make sure. I thought that's the way I understood it because he kind of gives him the lottery
Yeah.
sticker, or whatever you want to call
The
it,
little
which is a great touch.
which is a great moment because like it's two like little things told at the beginning of the story that come back later, right? I mean, like Nolan does this all the time with the spinning
Hmm.
top and all that stuff. He
Well,
places a lot of emphasis on items which come back later in the story.
yes. Well, and it's also like a verification that, like, because we've seen him kind of hallucinate like Zendaya as Athena in this, and then him having this little marker is like, oh no, that is a very real place he went to. Like, that's
Yeah,
terrifying. That's scary as hell. I thought the Hades part was done
beautifully,
spectacularly well. One of the best parts. Absolutely.
beautifully. All right, let's move on. So Tiresias is the blind prophet who tells them to go. Well, he pretty much lays out the rest of the movie, right? He's like, to get to Ithaca, you must go by Charybdis and Scylla, and then you must go to the cattle. You must go to the Apollo's island, where you'll come across the cattle of the sun god. You must not, you must not eat the cattle, right? Like that's the challenge he
Hmm.
lays out. Um, and then you'll find your way back to Ithaca, right? So let's kind of go through this in order. Sorry, he says you must go past the sirens, and then you get to Charybdis and Scylla. So let's go to sirens next. So
Okay.
sirens, at this point of the movie, we are kind of like flying. We are like absolutely soaring above the skies with this movie because, like, I don't want to say that this movie kind of like like sort of peaks here. I think it like plateaus. Like it just ends up going into a new. Once you get to Cersei, the movie really arrives. It really opens up, and it's just like we're now going for it, dude. Like,
Yeah.
what everything after, like, I love everything before Cersei, but everything after Cersei is like
Yeah, the steamroller is really picking up motion
we're in
here.
like genuinely like this is the best Nolan shit movie like territory.
Hmm.
Um, but yeah, let's talk about Sirens, right? Like him talking about like again, like Odysseus has like little moments of um uh stubbornness, or like he's kind of like brash because he talks about someone says like, oh, you're gonna have to go past the sirens, and he's like, well, I'll just put wax in their ears. Like, like he thinks he's like so smart,
Yeah.
like whatever, like, and he's always got a way around things, sort of thing. But like he ends up being doomed.
Hmm.
uh, so the siren sequence is, I love that we don't go in and see the sirens with like a clear like you know we kind of like see them from a distance on the rocks with like some dugongs and stuff.
Yeah. I'm 50-50. I could have used more, but I also I'm like, meh. I mean, with the movie that has this kind of runtime, there's probably a lot that got left on the cutting room floor, and I'm sure there's a lot about I would take way more of the sirens than I would of the giant warriors.
Yep.
Like I would much rather, because the sirens to me are like analogous with the Odyssey.
Yes.
That is literally where that woman's a damn siren is like. That's like also a very southern thing here. Them sirens loved him up and turned him into a horny toad, as they say in "Oh Brother Art Thou." Um, that's I mean that is mythological. That's where it comes from. So I kind of wish they spent a little bit more time with the sirens. Like I like how I don't even know what the fucking name of the rock monster thing that comes out and just starts picking
That's
motherfuckers off with the
Scylla.
sails.
So Scylla,
Scylla.
we'll get to it, but Scylla is like Scylla is supposed to be like a massive sort of like bigger sort of like Leviathan, but like in this adaptation Nolan's chosen for him to be inside this mountain and we just see its tentacles, sort of thing. Yeah.
Okay, yeah, because I was like, what the fuck
Yeah.
is that? But no, I think that uh, I think that we could have used more of the sirens because they're next to the Cyclops, probably the most, you know, probably the most popular like mythical creature in this
Hmm.
of everything. If I think if someone's like, yeah, what would you say about the Odyssey? It's like, yeah, he gets stuck. There's a Cyclops. There's some women that make him crash a ship on the shore. I'm like, there's a lot of stuff I would have never remembered. But I kind of wish they did a little bit more with that. But I understand that like we can't have like a monster around every corner. We can't do that every single time. We've gone giant, we've gone Cyclops, we've gone giant warriors. Now we're on a witch. Like what else? We just going to do the universal monster run while we're back Wolfman and Frankenstein and Mummy. Like like some stuff it has to be a little bit more subtle. And I think they do a good job with the subtlety of they kind of keep it mystical. It feels very like I don't know how to describe it. Like Hook, the Robin Williams movie Hook, like the shores of that look like, oh man, you have a nice drink and sit in the shade and stuff. Like, but they just turn that guy's like the Asian guy that jumps off the boat, which sucked too, because I love that guy. Like he's been there since the beginning. And when he jumped, I was like, whoever cast this movie did a good job of like, I don't know if that guy had any lines. I don't even know if he had a fucking name. But when he jumped off the boat, I was like, fuck, I like that guy. Like that sucks. I wish they'd spent a little bit more time with on the sirens, but I think where they get it's okay. It's
I
so emotionally
Yeah, well,
volatile, it kind of makes up
that's
for
the
it.
point, right? Like the point of the scene, and like, look, this might be me capping for Christopher Nolan, right? But like, I
Hmm.
thought the scene was perfect. I didn't need more. I didn't need less. I love that throughout this movie we are seeing everything that takes place from the perspective of Odysseus and his men is exactly how we see it. We never cut from the perspective of Odysseus to the the fucking Cyclops staring down at them or anything like that. We always see it from the perspective of Odysseus and his men, right? It makes sense that we see the sirens from the perspective of Odysseus and his men, and we never
Mm,
go in on the sirens. Like we never really break that plane of like realism. But I think this scene serves like some of the best dialogue that Nolan's done. Like when we kind of like zoom in on like what is sure to be like Matt Damon's Oscar clip, right? Like when he when
hmm
he's up there and is like that's his nomination clip.
Yeah.
The quote is, well, he's asked what did it say, like what did the siren say? He's like it told you that what you want most. Oh, sorry, it told you that what you want most is what you can't have, and what you most can't have is what you already had and lost. And it's obviously about him trying to get home, but then like it's
hmm
also like he's he's starting to get or he's starting to feel this because at this point he's been told by Agamemnon like you might not want to go home. Like you know what I mean?
hmm
And like now he's like really grappling with like shit, do I fucking want to go home? Like am I going to be
Yeah. Take it from me. I got murdered when I got
right,
home.
exactly. We did sail over that part. Like again, like him being stabbed and like the scream that Lapita like yells out as like she stabs him is like devastating.
I I remember leaning over, and going, "Good for her." Like, did you find out they sacrificed her daughter? Yeah. Like, good for
Yeah.
her.
By the way, Agamemnon played by Benny Safdie. Yeah,
Yeah.
fucking no slouch there.
Great armor.
Great, dude. Great armor.
Great armor.
Great armor. Just absolutely like visually impressive. Um, I thought the siren sequence was absolutely beautiful. I love that we just kind of like see them as we're just passing through, and like you know what I mean. Like
hmm
we're not really lingering or stopping there. We're just going about our Odyssey. um,
Yeah. Yeah.
let's get to the Charybdis and Scylla sequence. So Charybdis is the whirlpool, and then Scylla is like that tentacled sort of like monster inside that sort of like past there. And Tiresias was the one that forewarned Odysseus. He's like, hey, if you go into the whirlpool, you'll lose everyone. Whereas like if you go into the pass, you'll only lose 6 men. So you're going to have to
hmm
make a choice. And like Odysseus does the Odysseus thing where he misleads Eurycles. And he's like, "Oh, I kind of like use reverse psychology on you, and I wanted us to go into the pass because, like, he's like, oh, let's go into the whirlpool. You know, we'll go in and shoot out the other side, and like he would know that Eurycles would like um, disagree with him, so he just kind
Uh
of
huh.
like he's like, let me play Eurycles here. And like they ended up going into the pass where they lose 6 men, and then yeah, they come out through the other side. So, um, as the sequences go, I think this is my least favorite. I think this was my least favorite because I would like to have seen a little bit more of Scylla. Now, like this is like your problem that you had with with the sirens. I would like to have seen a little bit more of Scylla. Um, I just feel like that Scylla just kind of it's terrifying that it comes out of nowhere and it like lifts these men up. Apparently, like they built this massive like ratchet system to like pull them through like the sails and stuff. And I think it looked
Yeah.
cool. I just think like in this movie that's full of like incredible practical effects, the digital effects is the one that really stands out for me here. This this is the part that I'm just like, oh, okay. Like, it's just something that we had to do with CG and it looks okay.
Yeah. Yeah. It's fine. I mean, I was kind of a little confused. I was like, "What's going on?" But once I kind of read a little bit more about what the each individual kind of like monsters were, I was like, "Oh, okay. So this is some kind of you know, cliff creature or
Right.
something," and it's some kind of hentai like thing that picks motherfuckers up.
Exactly. All right, let's get to Apollo's Island. Basically they arrive here, the wind carries them in, but like because the wind lingers for so long, it doesn't carry them out. And it tests the mettle of the men, right? Like they are explicitly told by Odysseus that if they eat the cattle, they will die. They will all die.
Mhm.
Um, and I love this little sort of like small. We get a little bit of a montage that like it's just like, oh, okay, well they're not going to. they're trying to resist eating the cattle as much as possible. And I love that the gods test them. Like they literally push the cattle as close as possible to them. And one of the guys gets fed up and just throws a rock at him to like fucking shoo him away.
Yeah.
But I love like Odysseus just waking up in the middle of the night and just walking over to the pit and like them, they're just fucking eating it. They got a
Yeah.
fucking spit
Like
roast
eating
going,
ribs.
dude. It's just like,
Yeah.
oh.
They have like bibs on and like Coors Lights everywhere, like
they got fucking
mouths covered in sauce.
they got the fucking got the fucking hot sauce going, dude. Like, it's but yeah, I love Odysseus just being like, well, you've just all doomed yourselves. Like, like this is, I told you not to eat him, you ate him, great. They make their way back to the ship, and Odysseus notices that the wind's gone. Right, it's finally dropped. Now we can make our way out. And there's a great cut here where it's like, oh, but what I can't remember the line, but like the line is like the wind dropped just long enough for us to make ourselves out on Poseidon's ocean. And then like it's like hard cut to like, oh my god,
yeah. it's equivalent to like, yeah, but that was when he knew he fucked up, like that one of those edits, because the wind is blowing on them, not letting them off the island, and they're like, okay, we just won't eat the cows, we'll just get some food, water and berries and leave, and then they're just stuck there, and it's like, oh. So it's easier said than done, and yeah, that smash cut to them getting like their Kaz boss getting rocked is fucking
dude,
great.
They're absolutely getting their fucking shit pushed in. Like, holy fuck! Like this is the wrath of Zeus and Apollo, and it's like this is where the ship breaks apart. I love Eurycles. Eurycles just again, just like shout, like just being like, "Forgive us, pray to Poseidon." Like it's haunting, dude. This is an incredible sequence. I just think it goes on for a little bit long. I think it's a little long. Like we get a lot of like flashes in this dark like atmosphere, and like I was like, this is not really great to look at. Primarily because this is the water tank sequence where they shot in the water tank.
Yeah.
But this goes on for quite some time, and I think Steph actually had to like look away because like we're engulfed in this massive IMAX screen, and it's just so like every time like the thunder or the lightning strikes from Zeus, like the whole auditorium lights up, and it's just like, god damn, look, like I can't keep looking at this.
Yeah. And I get the emotional impact of it because we're saying goodbye to the crew. We're never seeing the crew again in this movie, like never. And they've been with us literally from hour one, minute one. They're right there with us. So like I kind of understand it, but yeah, I think it's a little rough around the edges, but it's still better than most.
So the ship breaks apart, and Odysseus ends up on Calypso's island, right? So Calypso, played by Charlize Theron, is still fucking beautiful, by the way. I don't know why you'd want to leave Calypso's island. But also, you want to get back home to Anne Hathaway, so you're between a rock and a hard place there. So
yeah, it's between your Jackie and your Marilyn. Like there's a classic pick right there. Like, which I like. I didn't, I liked the whole thing of her drugging him and keeping him kind of like, it's almost like Misery, the Paul Sheldon, Annie Wilkes, yeah. Which, and I know like. At one point, I thought I was like, "Oh, Charlize Theron," or I was like, "Oh, Scarlett Johansson," and it took me a second. I was like, "Oh no, that's that's Charlize Theron," and I don't know why. She looks, obviously. I mean, everybody ages, whatever. But it really threw me through a loop at first. I was like, "That's Charlize Theron," and I don't know why that fucked me up so bad. I mean, obviously, she's still like, God. I mean, she could play Athena for Christ's sakes. But the idea of her, and I think also something we skipped by or two things. John Leguizamo, probably my favorite part of the movie. I think he's incredible. I think he's the best performance. I think he doesn't have a bad line. Really, really good, and not the guy I thought was going to be in a Nolan flick.
No.
Really, did not see John Leguizamo popping up in a Nolan flick, but he is probably the best part. I think he's absolutely
Nolan does
perfect.
this a couple times with these kinds of actors who, they don't end up like leading their movies, but like in Oppenheimer, for me the standout was who's that guy from fucking You've seen 10 Things I Hate About You when he's like, I have a dick on my face, don't I? God damn it, what's his name again? David Krumholtz.
Oh, I
David
know.
Krumholtz. He does it with David
Oh,
Krumholtz
okay.
in
Yeah.
Oppenheimer. And I'm just like, holy shit, dude. Like, you are incredible in this movie. And that's how I felt about like
Hmm.
Leguizamo in this movie too. I was like, shit.
I think, yeah, Leguizamo, and then also uh, the part, oh fuck, I forgot, oh, the narrative structure
Mhm.
of how he's telling the story, because the story is not just him. It's not just like Goodfellas where there's like a random
Yeah.
narration. It's him telling the story to Calypso and her trying to help him
Remember.
remember,
Yeah.
and there's this weird kind of like justification for her drugging him, because she's like, you would have stopped eating when you were ready, and that's why you stopped eating the lotus, and it's like, yeah, okay, Cosby, let's calm down there. Like, let's not let's not sit there and tell a guy who's been drugged for 7 years that he could have said, you could have said no at any time. Like, come on, man. Like, I don't know about that. Um,
But she
but it's
she
good. I
gives in
like it.
to Zeus, right? Like Zeus is the one that wants him to go home. Um and like that's ultimately, and then she's like, "You must give yourself over to Poseidon now," which is like, he like goes out on the raft, which breaks up, and then he ends up in the water. I guess like it's him sort of like asking for forgiveness, for what he did to
Mm,
Zeus, Poseidon's son. And then he finds his way back to Ithaca. He washes up on the shores of Ithaca. Um, and then this kind of like we kind of like launch into this like massive third act, and I don't want to. We won't spend too much more time on this, but like the third act is breathtaking but we are doing a lot of things. So we did skip by Telemachus, played by Tom Holland. I think Tom Holland does a
mm.
good job in this movie. Like Telemachus,
He's fine.
he's a
No
hard
complaints.
character to play. Both Penelope and Telemachus are hard characters to play because, quite frankly, they don't have a lot to do. Like they don't have a lot to do,
Mm.
but I think,
They're just on
yeah,
standby.
but
Yeah.
I think both of them. I think Anne Hathaway is incredible in this movie. Like when she has that sequence with Antinous, when he's like, "Yeah, but you've been like unraveling that thing every night, like you know."
Mm. Yeah, it's good. It's
Yeah,
good.
and then like later when she's like shouting like to Telemachus, like, "I want Odysseus," like she's talking about like how hard it is to be a woman like with these people. It's all great stuff. Anne Hathaway's just bringing it in this movie. Um,
Absolutely. Yeah.
but we get this sort of like assassination attempt by Antinous' men in this sort of like temple, which is where Odysseus first shows up as a beggar, to rescue Telemachus. This is a great sequence. I love this whole temple sequence. And Odysseus kind of like bringing these guys down. He rescues
Hmm.
Telemachus. They kind of like have this sort of, they go off, and you know I really enjoy that Telemachus at this point has been told all these stories about his father, and he's gone to Sparta. He's been told by the king of Sparta, Menelaus, like, this is who your father was. Your father was a great man. Blah blah blah. Like, um, and like all of these like legends start to sort of like come true. Like when we haven't even talked about Argus, who was the dog.
Mm.
um,
Yeah.
when that poor dog like out on that pile of shit for like how many years. I almost rolled a tear when Leguizamo was like, "I've never seen a dog reach the age of 20, but he is waiting for his return."
Yeah.
And I'm just
Yeah.
like, when
Yeah.
we get that moment outside of the gates or whatever, when Odysseus rolls up and finds Argus, and then Argus passes away, um,
Immediately. Yeah.
immediately, and then that tells Telemachus that this is Odysseus. I was like, "Holy fuck, we are operating on levels, on absolute levels, dude! Like, it's crazy."
It was very good. Yeah, it was a nice, quiet, kind of subtle way to announce to the world yeah, not him just be like, and by the way, I'm your
Yeah,
dad. It's like,
yeah. And then we kind of like sort of start closing in on the final sequence here. You we got Odysseus sort of like playing this beggar. He's taking sort of like Agamemnon's sort of like heed of like, "Hey, you can't come in through the front door as yourself. You need a disguise." And he uses, as he previously used in Troy, he uses trickery to get himself back into Ithaca, right? Like he plays a beggar, which is not dissimilar to the Trojan horse maneuver.
Yeah. Uh-huh.
um, and he gets himself in there. He starts witnessing the the way that Antinous has really sort of like overtaken um, or really started to misuse Zeus's law, which is
Mhm.
Greek hospitality, or like just that you're supposed to. I love the way, I love the way that they treat or they introduce us to Zeus's law, right? Like at the beginning of the movie, Holland's kind of like got this beggar from Sparta. He's kind of like a sort of like a messenger, and he's like, we must treat him as we as if he were the gods, right? And then there's this like
Mhm.
there's this thunder that happens, and he's like, "Are you are you a god in disguise?"
Yeah. He's like, that's lucky.
Yeah. Um, but yeah, man, like I love all of this. Like he kind of like goes around with this bowl, and he starts to like get a sense of like what's happening here, and then he has this conversation with Penelope, and Penelope. This is one of my favorite scenes because Penelope makes this revelation of like you're the sea people, and the sea people, I did some research. The sea people were real. The sea people is a real like legend. It's like there's evidence of the sea people. Basically, the name Sea Peoples is a modern scholarly invention. They're primarily known from ancient Egyptian records, most notably the Grand Battle release at Pharaoh Ramesses III's mortuary temple. But basically, the Sea Peoples are considered both an agent and a symptom of the late Bronze Age collapse. As severe mega droughts, famines, and internal unrest destabilized the interconnected kingdoms of the time. The Sea Peoples launched coordinated invasions by land and sea. They overran mighty civilizations like the Hittite Empire and Mycenaean Greece, burned the wealthy city of Ugarit to the ground, and severely battered the Levant. I love that Nolan recontextualizes this Odyssey story as
Mhm.
maybe it's Odysseus. Maybe it was Odysseus and his men that like burned and pillaged and raped their way through modern or through Greece and caused the civilization and downfall of this civilization. Really, really great stuff. You
No,
can
yeah,
go into
absolutely.
like a massive rabbit hole here. I went through I went down a massive rabbit hole trying to read this, man. It's so
Yeah.
incredible,
Well,
incredible.
it can be kind of summed up with Ra's al Ghul when he's like, once the fire grows too big, the purging forest is inevitable,
Yeah.
you know. And it's like once all civilizations hit a point of advancement, you're going to start rubbing shoulders a lot more than you did 6 years ago, 5 years ago, 10 years ago. Um, so yeah, him coming in and kind of being undercover and getting a feel for what's going on in his own house is, and for him to witness it first, like first point, first play, first POV is important because now as of now, he's just been being told what's going on up there. But for him to actually witness it is really important, and for him to kind of break it down to Penelope about like, well, what if the person that left is not the person
Mhm.
that came back?
Yes, absolutely. I I enjoyed like this whole like we haven't talked about Zendaya much because there's not really that much to
She's fine.
talk about. But I mean, I think she plays a great sort of like um. I love that she's disguised. She is Athena disguised as this young girl who he witnessed
Hmm.
murdered. And she is like the cause of his grief and guilt. And
It felt very God of War. Like that
yeah,
felt very God of War, 100%.
absolutely. This kind of like sort of like specter that you have, yeah,
Atonement.
hanging over you. And I love
Absolutely.
that she disappears as soon as he makes the realization. Like that is when he is speaking to Penelope and like he makes his confession. Sorry, not realization. He makes his confession that
Hmm.
this is what we did at Troy, and this is how I felt about it. And then that's when Athena disappears, and like she doesn't like come back. It's really, really beautiful. That's when we get that massive flashback sequence, and it's recontextualized in a completely different way. That's when we get that incredible shot of like the Greek men up there at the statue of Athena, and like it gets beheaded, and the whole head rolls down, and there's a young girl who gets beheaded at the same time. Like the death of
Hmm.
sorry, the death of innocence and all of that stuff. And
Yeah.
you've got like Odysseus looking around, and you've got this one recurring shot of Odysseus on these steps, and you never really realize until the final shot in the movie exactly what he's sort of staring up at. But it's the horse kind
Hmm.
of like leaning up against the structure, and you can take away from that what you will, but to me it's literally trickery imposing itself on modern civilization. Um and
Yeah. Thanks to Odysseus, now we have drone
right.
strikes. Thanks.
Yeah,
Like,
thanks. Fucking Pete Hegseth has a lot to thank for fucking Odysseus, dude.
yeah.
Um
Fucking, there's a direct line from Odysseus to Palantir,
exactly.
like,
Exactly. But yeah, man, like let's just really kind of like wrap this up and sort of talk about this final sequence. Um, Nolan goes crazy here. Like Nolan goes absolutely
it's
fucking
great.
apeshit here with the music and the cinematography and everything. We kind of like sort of get this sort of John Wick moment. But him sort of stringing together the bow and I get like I said the musical moment of him plucking the bow and it like
That was
fitting
fantastic.
it.
That was like the it was the primal
Yes,
roar in the jungle, that like everyone was like,
yeah, fitting it.
all right.
It fitting into the score is so beautiful. But yeah,
Hmm.
I love Antinous just being reduced to exactly what he is, which is a coward. Telemachus gets a lot to do, well, some to do here as he's fighting Logan Martian Green upstairs, and I love,
LMG,
yeah,
baby. I
I
love
know you do,
LMG, dude.
I know. As soon as you,
Love Mo. Upgrade, man. He stole my heart. And that invitation, I was like, okay, yeah, I love this guy. Like, he's
yeah,
great, dude.
not Tom Hardy is like passing through the weapons through the. He's like,
yeah.
because Christopher Nolan, and Tom Hardy are like, they kind of have like a relationship, but I guess like Tom Hardy wasn't available, so he's just like, he's like, get that one that looks like me.
Yeah. Well, the role that he played, I don't even know who LMG plays as, but when he's like, he's very like, like he's almost, I don't know, his effeminate kind of quirky vibe he's got in the movie. He has a weird little like, he's a catty little bitch. It feels like in this, and I love John Leguizamo's
Melanthius is his name. Yeah.
Mylantheus. Okay. Now when John Leguizamo like closes the door on him, he's like, "You got to walk quieter than
Right.
that," and locks it. I was like, "That's dope.
There's like
That's really
five or
cool."
six payoffs in this final sequence, where and like that is one of them, right?
Hmm.
Like because we've heard multiple times of like I told you shuffle too loud, or I told you not to wear your
Yeah.
spurs to court. Like I can hear you. It's good stuff. Like there's a lot of payoff here in this final sequence, and then like I love during the middle of the fight, like some of the men start to kneel as they realize that
Mm.
Odysseus is the goat. um,
Hmm.
and we finally end with like Odysseus plunging his blade into Antinous as he says, uh, Sinon told me to give you back your shame. Which is a great
And
moment.
just it. Yeah. Puts the lottery in his mouth. I was like,
Brilliant.
"Oof, yeah, that's right." You're taking that
Yeah.
with you.
But at that point, Odysseus has taken a few arrows, and he kind of like finally lays eyes on Penelope, and she says, well, she closes off the movie with him. I thought that I really like the ending of this movie. I thought that it came a bit too quick though. Like I was like, oh, we're done. That's it. Damn it, I wanted more.
Yes and no. I mean, I feel like I like it because now Odysseus finally, he's like, bro, how long was the, so he's with Calypso for like 7
7 years, yeah.
years, but before that, how long did the journey take before you wound up with Calypso? Because I'm assuming it's
Right.
months. So he's been gone for what they say 20 years. He's been gone between the battle and everything. I like it because it's finally like him getting his chance to rest, and it happens you're right. It does happen quickly, but it's like, give the poor fucker a break, man. Like I thought he was going to die. I thought for sure he was dead. And she's like, oh no, you can't leave. You can't leave. He's like, hell no, bitch. I'm talking about exile. I'm not fucking dying. Like,
Right.
I kind of like that.
I love that. I love that we kind of get like Anne Hathaway and Matt Damon sort of like over the end of this sort of like final sequence, right? Because like he doesn't die. they kind of like sail off,
Mm,
chasing the sun, as we've already sort of set up. Again, Nolan paying off this thing that he's already set up
hmm
during the beginning of the movie. Telemachus becomes king, and I love that Odysseus has to honor his promise to Sinon that he will travel west to honor his men.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's the character from the beginning of this might have done that, but this character is like, no, that's number one on the
Yeah.
agenda.
I'm just going to quickly read the quote from Odysseus before we head off here. This is the quote that he
Hmm
says like during the flashback, and I think it's some of like Nolan's best writing. This is essentially the Destroyer of Worlds speech from Oppenheimer. I know you haven't seen it, but I mean,
No, yeah, it's a famous
he
speech
says,
though.
"What if the Odysseus you knew lost his way? What if one night in a strange city he saw things that made him think the home he knew couldn't possibly be there anymore? What if, when he left the belly of the horse and opened the gates of Troy, he saw 10 years of rage pour into that city in one night? We left them a gift, an offering of peace that they took into their home. We violated all that's ever sacred between people. It turned a fight into a hunt. To burn the worlds of Troy was to burn the world entire, including his home. What if he knew that very night, as he walked through fires, anarchy, and pain, and in the days of sweaty celebrations that follow, what if he knew exactly what he'd done?" And then Penelope tries to like sort of like soften the blow. She says, "What all of you had done." And then he said, "One man's idea, one man's trick to break Zeus's law forever. We lived in a world of palaces and trade, language, blind to its beauty until we broke it." And then Penelope says, "You are the people of the sea." And then Odysseus says, "Yes, my queen. The breaking of Zeus's law spreading like plague. Our age of bronze is collapsing, and maybe he couldn't bear to see the ruins of what he'd done anywhere. Least of all, his home." Just, I just thought like,
Hmm
just yeah, it's obviously very,
Yeah, Pandora's
it's
box,
obviously
man.
very like heavy-handed and not subtle at all. Like no Nolan movie is subtle. I will like absolutely tell you like Nolan's not a subtle a filmmaker. I don't think. Like there are some stuff that he like hides in the shadows, but like these overall, over massive like themes like this,
Hmm
he never really like hides. Like he's just like, this is what the movie is about, you know. And
hmm
it's yeah, this is where it like really crystallizes for me. And I just I thought this movie is like I thought this movie was like an absolute diamond in the rough of like just cinematic event storytelling. Like he is to close us off, man, he is like he's making blockbuster movies with massive budgets with the same reverence that smaller filmmakers are making in their small films, but with like the amount of thought given to those movies. You know what I mean? Like there's still,
hmm
it's not like he's going out there and like making a movie and just kind of like whatever.
Like Fast and Furious and
Right.
shit.
He's not
Yeah.
just making just a modernized version of the Odyssey. That's not what he's doing. Like everything that
hmm
I just read is a Christopher Nolan original. Like that's not from the poem. Like that Odysseus being this introspective guy who feels guilty about the sacking of Troy and the violation of Zeus's law. That is all Christopher Nolan. Um,
hmm
and I just feel like no one's doing it on this scale. Like we might get some of that from Denis Villeneuve in Dune. Like, it's a $250 million movie as well, but we'll see what kind of like themes we get out of that. But like this was incredible. I had a absolute I'm so excited to see, because like the last note I have here on our little shared notes that we have is, what does Nolan do next? You know, like
hmm
does he kind of, like he's kind of got a sort of blank check from here. So, and
Yeah.
he's
And no,
told the biggest
absolutely.
stories of
I'm
all time
excited.
now. So like what next?
Well, to your point of him writing and directing a lot of these, by himself or with one person is just absolutely incredible. It was a good movie. I enjoyed it. But I not something I'll probably see again for a long time, but definitely go out there and see
Yeah,
it.
absolutely. Closing thoughts.
Great movie. Loved it.
Great
Goodbye.
movie. Loved it. Goodbye.
I liked it. I didn't love it, but I
Okay.
liked it. It's pretty good. Pretty damn good.
I will be getting this on 4K Blu-ray as soon as it fucking comes out. I want to get a fucking poster of it. I want to put it in my fucking office. And I will be putting that in our Discord / Facebook as soon as I get it. I'm gonna frame that shit.
Oh yeah.
I love this movie. I will be seeing it again before it leaves the theater. This is what the movies are for. You know, this is why we go to the movies.
Yeah, I
This is
agree with that.
absolutely why we go to the movies. There's just no ifs and buts about it.
100%.
All right, man, that's the episode. Holy fuck! I hope you guys enjoyed this big fucking episode, this meaty bitch. Um, this was we were always going to go long on this one, but I didn't realize that we'd be going for this long. Um, as soon as you, Colin, made aware to me that you were going to go check this out, I started writing down notes immediately. I was like, okay, this is what I want to talk about. This is what I want to talk about. This is what I want to talk about. And I'm glad we did, man. I'm glad we covered it. And thank you for hanging late.
Yeah, absolutely. Not a problem. I hope you guys enjoyed the episode. Definitely check out our Discord, join the after party on Facebook. Go check out our Bad Crystal podcast. It's about Breaking Bad. It's a lot of fun. We hope you guys enjoyed the episode, and we will catch you on the next one. Bye.